Greetings and welcome to the Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video, where today I'm reviewing the Brutal and Cunning box for Kill Team. But before we go into things, thanks goes to Games Workshop for providing this to review for free. As always, I aim to be honest and impartial and constructively critical. And please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Did you find it useful? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, an affiliate at Iron Games, an affiliate discount code at Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support as well. But let's get on with the video. So yeah, this is Brutal and Cunning. It's the second box for Season 1 of 3rd edition of Kill Team. So this box is quite big and it's got some more interesting stuff in terms of what came in Hivestorm, the box prior. So it's quite a big box. Inside you get both the Orc Commando, well, the Orc Wrecker Crew and the Rattling Kill Teams. And on the back it shows you everything you also get inside, which is a lot of stuff because you also get faction cards this time as well as tokens, whereas in Hivestorm you only got faction tokens. And you got some new terrain add-ons. Inside you can see all the sprues. You do get a lot. So the Wrecker Crew are like 3 sprues, whereas the Rattlings are only 2. You also get 2 sprues for the new terrain. So this works like Morok. So it has connections where it allows you to like connect to Volkus terrain, but it doesn't really work as its own terrain set. What it does is add on to Volkus to make like bunkers and encampments, which is pretty nice. You also get bases and transfers inside, along with a nice box like was in Hivestorm, which has everything else inside. So inside that you get the Brutal and Cunning dossier, which has everything else inside. You get the instructions for how to build stuff as well as the card tokens. And then you also get the card packs for each faction as well. Going over the kill teams inside briefly, you have the Wrecker Crew, which are 6 orcs and 2 bomb squigs, which are more shooting orientated. They all start off as 2 APL and are effectively 12 wounds, except for the bomb squigs. The bomb squigs are throwaway operatives, so you're effectively a 6 operative kill team when it comes to the kill op. Your special thing is Wrecker points, where every time you roll a 6 in melee or shooting, you get a Wrecker point, which allows you to modify your attacks. So you have ways to be accurate in shooting as well as melee. You don't have all the shooting tricks of commandos, but everyone is usually shooting with 6 attack dice, and you have enough weight of numbers to just push through enemy defenses. And you also have ways to flex around in melee, as well as wielding explosive tank hammers. They're very fun, but they require a more brutal and direct Orky approach, as well as having a pulsar rocket, which is effectively a nuke, which is kind of fun. Unfortunately, you do need 2 boxes if you want to be fully competitive, so you'll need 2 boxes of Wreckers. But otherwise, if you're not aiming to be super competitive, like you just want to have a generally competitive list, you can get away with 1 box. Then you've got the Rattlings. So you get 11 Rattlings in this box. They're all very short. They're actually shorter than most of the Volkus walls and light barricades, which is funny, but also a bit problematic when you're trying to shoot. The way they work is everyone effectively has a sniper rifle, but you have to spend a CP to have silent and also to get rerolls, which is fine. And also your special ability is to, after an opponent activates, you can then dash away. So you have ways to kind of like dance around combat, but you can't use it 2 enemy activations in a row. You kind of leapfrog. So you can use it the first time your opponent activates, but then the 3rd time. So you can't just keep doing it. So you have ways around it. It's nice, interesting movement mechanics because everyone is 6 wounds, so they're quite squishy. They're movement 5, so they're quite slow as well. But they're very fun and thematic kill team. Although they also require multiple boxes, but at least not of Rattlings. What you need is another box of Ogrins. So then you have, because you can take 3 Bullgrins or 3 Ogrins, and unfortunately you want 3 of each, depending on your opponent. And you can just drop 3 Rattlings for them. So you always do this because it makes the team very competitive and strong, which is a bit of a downside both kill teams share, where if you want to be the most competitive, you either have to buy another box of Orcs or you have to buy 2 boxes of Ogrins and Bullgrins. But outside of that, they're a very fun and thematic kill team, which really does reflect the way they work. And especially on maps which are more open, your opponent will get shredded by all their sniper rifles. But they're pretty fun. For the terrain, you have the Kill Zone Upgrade Compound Siege. So you get these 6 terrain walls. So they have a closed breach point, open breach point, closed breach point, open breach point, And then also they have doors. So the way they work are stockades. And a stockade is a terrain feature that has a breakpoint and has two statuses, closed and open. Its terrain type depends upon that status. A stockade's breachpoint begins the battle enclosed and can open up during the battle, which breakpoint cannot be closed again. So mirrors one of the expansions for Gallowdark where you had walls that could be blown up and pushed through. So closed. While the stockade's breachpoint is closed, the removable part of the stockade must be attached. The whole stockade is heavy terrain, and when open, the removable part is removed from the kill zone. Its breach point is accessible, insignificant, and exposed terrain, and the rest of the stockade is heavy. So it basically just allows you to walk through. Then you get bunkers. A bunker is a heavy terrain feature. While an operative is on the inside of a bunker that's within its control range, it can perform the guard action, but you can only interrupt enemy operatives when the enemy operative is out on the outside of this bunker, and when you do, that friendly operative can only shoot or fight against an enemy operative on the outside. So it represents you just shooting outside. So it's a nice way to use this terrain. And then you've got fire steps, which fire step is advantage, insignificant, and exposed terrain. So some of the terrain features use them so you can stand on them. You've got fortified position. So visibility cannot be drawn over heavy terrain of a bunker or stockade terrain feature unless the operative or what they're trying to see is at least 2 inches higher than the bottom of that bunker or stockade. For an operative, remember to measure from its base. Note that this has no effect on drawing visibility for an open breach point or window. So if you're on the ground floor, cannot see, you have to be higher, which represents like these walls, like your opponent like hiding, sneaking up towards you. And visibility cannot be drawn through windows of a bunker or stockade terrain feature unless the operative or what they're trying to shoot at is within 1 inch of that window. So you have to be right up close to shoot them. So you have some nice trades-offs for people trying to advance onto the bunkers. And then you've got shooting. Whenever an operative is shooting a friendly operative that's on the other side of a bunker or stockade terrain feature and in cover from it, that friendly operative ignores the piercing weapon rule. For the blast and taunt weapon rules, secondary targets must be on the same side of the bunker or stockade feature as the primary target, so you can't just like hit two people on either side, they have to be on the same side. X devastating can only affect operatives on the same side of the bunker, like blast, and these have no effect when visibility intervening for each of the above is through an open breach point. So if there's an open breach point, you're affected as normal. For fighting, when an operative is on one side of a bunker or stockade terrain feature and is retaliating against an operative on the other side, the defender resolves first. This has no effect if either of the operative's ability is drawn through an open stockade's breach point. So, you know, if the wall's open, it doesn't benefit, but it's kind of mirroring how the strongholds work on Volcus. And then you've got climbing. When climbing terrain feature of a bunker or stockade terrain feature, treat that vertical distance as 4 inches, even though the operative moves less. Note that this has no effect when moving through an open breach point. So it means these walls are slightly more difficult to climb. Kind of like the ones from Nak Morok, which is interesting. Then you've got opening a stockade. You can open a stockade for you can open the door for 1 action point. So open the stockade terrain feature that has a door, and if it's the inside of its breach point is within the operative's control range. An operative cannot perform this action if it's on the outside of the stockade, if the stockade is already open or it doesn't have a door. So once it's open for good. And you can open a stockade when you're performing the shoot action. You select a stockade terrain feature as a valid target as long as its removable part is visible to you. That stockade can be obscured, treat its breach point as its base, but it cannot be in cover. And then you treat the hit stat of the operative's weapon as 2+, and then apply other changes after. Your opponent rolls an additional defense dice for the stockade, usually 4 unless you have piercing, but they cannot be re-rolled for the defense dice and it has a save stat of 4 up. Damage of 3 or less that would be inflicted on the stockade is ignored. Note for each instance of damage, not total damage. When an operative is performing the fight action, you can select the stockade to fight against and the stockade cannot retaliate. Treat the hit stat of the operative's weapon as 2+, then apply changes after. When normal damage of 5 or less would be inflicted on the stockade, ignore that damage instead. Each stockade terrain feature has a wound stat of 8. If its wounds is reduced to 0, its status is changed to open. So you have multiple ways to damage this. Once again, obviously melters are best, and oddly melee isn't as good. Like if you have damage 4 or more guns, you're actually quite likely to breach this. But I guess they wanted big burly people to break through because Technically, damage 5 or not in melee can't break this, which is an interesting choice, but fun nonetheless. Then you've got the mission map key showing how you can add this terrain to your Volcus maps and how to use it correctly. As you can see in one of the pictures, where you've got the 3 walls and 1 bunker, so you can have the walls attached to the bunker to make like these bunker points to defend. You also get free missions, so here's 2 of them at the moment. The goal of this is to represent lesser areas of the Volcus area, and it represents you trying to do point defense. So you've got defenders trying to keep opponents out, and then you've got attackers trying to break through the bunker and get to the middle, because all these objectives have 1 mission marker. You also have some more MPOs, so you've got ruses to expand on the MPOs depending on when you're doing like night attacks, preliminary bombardment, booby traps, and you've just got some more expanded MPO rules, which is nice for those people playing either for the MPO way with co-op mode or like in a narrative take. So for the Brutal and Cunning overview, would I recommend it? I am very torn. I do like the box. The terrain, it really won't be used, I'm afraid, unless you're playing more co-op or more narrative games of Kill Team. Thankfully, it's not forced into competitive play and you can't really use it for competitive play. And while I do like the teams, I really like the Wreckers. And if you just wanted to bite from the Wreckers, I think that'd be a valid choice. The only problem with the Ratlings is on their own, they are fun, but almost impossible to win with. They do need the Ogrins. The Wreckers can get away without you buying a second box. Like you only really need the second box if you want to tech into very specific matchups, which generally isn't necessary. The fact that the Ratlings need you to buy 2 boxes of Ogrins makes this very annoying. The good thing is you do get 2 full kill teams. They're 2 brand new kill teams, which we haven't gotten before. You get all the cards and tokens. So this time you get all the faction cards for both of these kill teams, as well as any tokens. So you do have everything to start playing with them. You do also get some nice terrain expansions, and you get the dossier. Downside, you technically need to buy a second box of Wreckers if you want to be completely competitive, or you need to buy 2 boxes of Ogrins, 1 for free Ogrins, 1 for free Bulgrins for your Ratlings, which is very annoying. And then while the thematic missions are nice, the terrain feature is kind of useless if you're playing competitively, which has been the pattern for previous boxes, so nothing out of the ordinary there. But otherwise, I still think it's a good box, and generally I would recommend it because the Wreckers are still a really good team and the Ratlings are nice. But if you're just like hyper competitively focused, you probably don't want this box. It's just like, while the Wreckers have a lot of promise, Ratlings are good, but then it's like you're going to need to buy more. Like, at least with the Wreckers, you're fine waiting like 2 or 3 months for the extra Wrecker the Wreckers to be sold separately, because then you can buy some more eventually. And like, both of them are really fun painting projects. But it's just like, if you can get over the fact you need to buy 2 boxes of Ogrins, then it's fine. Then you'll be good. And I'm sure like there's ways to use the narrative terrain more. I just haven't figured that out yet. It probably won't be used competitively, but it is what it is. But if you are playing from a more casual standpoint, you will love everything in the box. Both teams are really fun to play. The terrain is actually pretty useful and nice, especially if you're expanding it into other kill zones or using it for 40k. And the narrative missions are really fun and add an extra dimension, which we haven't had before in Kill Team, where you've got proper defender attacker missions with point defense and bunker breaches, which is really nice. And I think that's really fun. So it's kind of like a love-hate box. But if we keep getting new kill teams for Kill Team, I'm happy in terms of, I really like the fact that both of these kill teams are brand new instead of just getting a brand new kill team and a kill team with an upgrade sprue. So yeah, if we keep having brand new kill teams, amazing. I'll accept this trend. And the kill teams are quite fun and thematic. I only get a bit annoyed that the Ratlings just kind of become way too good once they have the Ogrins and Bulgrins, but we'll see how that plays out. But that's pretty much it for me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's review. What do you think of Brutal and Cunning? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, an affiliate link at Element Games, and an affiliate link and discount code at Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support, and I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So for my adepts of the crew, I have Zombie Businessman, Tom, Super Cow, Steven, Sam, Nick, Mercenary Q, Mr. Meatworld, Lucas, John Thomas Graham, Jeremiah, Fangzu, Draken, Dave Meets World, Darcy, Dad of Golden's Chris, and then for my veterans of the crew, I have Sam, Joe, and Mark. So thank you all for your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. But yeah, currently I'm painting both of these teams up. I will have battle report for them eventually. I will be playing the Ratlings. Pray for me. Pray for John. But it will be fine. I think the box is really fun. And once again, I'm really happy with finally getting 2 brand new kits in these expansions. Instead of just 1 kit and an upgrade kit for an old sprue. I'm not a fan of having to buy more. I don't mind it so much for the Wreckers. I get very annoyed with the Ratlings because it's like, clearly they did not work without the Ogrins, which is a shame, but it's nice. I like the direction they're taking with the game. And currently, all the new edition teams seem to be fairly well balanced around each other. Some are a bit weaker than the others, namely Vesemid. But if we keep getting teams on the same level, I think we're in a good spot. But remember, no matter how brutal or cunning you are, there's always a chance to win, as long as you can roll a crit.